Hello everyone! In this video, we'll explore an advanced performance feature in Bagisto, the speculation rule, designed to enhance your storefront's loading speed and deliver a smoother user experience. First, log into the admin panel. I will explain everything related to the speculation rule. Once you're logged in, navigate to the Configure section, then click on Content, where you'll find the speculation rule feature. So, what exactly is speculation? The speculation rule in Bagisto allows your storefront to intelligently preload, prefetch, or pre-render certain pages or assets. This means that, based on user interactions, such as hovering over a link or scrolling, the browser can begin loading the next page in advance. As a result, when the user actually clicks the link, the page appears much faster. For example, when I click on the Compare page, it navigates quickly to the next page without any delay. What is pre-render and what is prefetch? These are the two main types of actions controlled by the speculation rule. Prefetch allows the browser to download a resource or page in the background, so it's ready if the user navigates to it. On the other hand, pre-render goes a step further. The browser not only downloads the page, but also renders it in a hidden tab. As a result, when the user clicks the link, the page appears instantly. First, enable the feature and save the configuration. Then go to the storefront, navigate to the spec part, and perform a search. You'll see that the speculation script is active, and both pre-render and prefetch are functioning. When the Enable Pre-render Speculation rule option is turned on, Bagisto allows the browser to pre-render pages. This means the browser will actually load and render the page in the background in a hidden tab. So, when the user clicks a link, it feels instant. Just like this. For example, when we click on any button, you can navigate to the next page without any delay. Now, what is the functionality of the Ignore Pre-render URL field? In this field, you can specify a list of URLs or patterns where pre-rendering should not happen. This is useful in cases where pre-rendering a specific page might waste bandwidth or cause unintended behavior. For example, it's advisable to exclude pages like the checkout, cart, admin URLs, or dynamic pages containing sensitive data. Suppose I enter the Compare page in this section and save the configuration. You'll notice that navigating to the Compare page now takes time. However, when we remove it from the ignored list and save the configuration again, hovering and clicking will instantly navigate to the Compare page without any delay. This demonstrates the difference between an ignored URL and one that is allowed for pre-rendering. So, what is the use of the Ignore Pre-render URL parameter? This feature prevents the browser from creating separate pre-renders for URLs that differ only by query parameters. It also helps avoid triggering pre-rendering for URLs with dynamic or frequently changing parameters. For instance, if I go to the subcategory section and sort products from A to Z or from Z to A, the only difference in the URLs is the query parameter. If I copy one of these URLs and enter it into the ignore list, the browser treats links with or without that parameter the same, preventing unnecessary pre-renders. Let's talk about the pre-render URL parameter. If you enter a parameter into the Ignore Parameter field, the browser will treat links with or without that parameter the same when it comes to pre-rendering. This helps prevent duplicate pre-rendering of essentially identical pages and avoids redundancy. Now, let's move on to the feature called Pre-render Eagerness Level. What exactly does this mean? The pre-render level defines how early the browser starts pre-rendering a page based on user behavior. There are three types of eagerness levels: eager, moderate, and conservative. So, what are they? Eager means that as soon as a link appears in the viewport, the browser begins pre-rendering it. This provides the fastest user experience but consumes more bandwidth and resources. Moderate is a balanced approach. Pre-rendering is triggered when the user hovers over or focuses on a link. It strikes a good balance between speed and system resource usage. Conservative means pre-rendering begins only when the user clicks the link, but before releasing the click. It uses minimal system resources but delivers a smaller performance gain. In the demo, I selected the moderate option and clicked on it to show how it works. When we hover over a link and click, the page navigates to the next screen quickly and seamlessly. Now, let's move on to the next part. Prefetch. What is the purpose of the Enable Prefetch Speculation rule? When this feature is enabled, Bagisto allows the browser to prefetch pages or asset links that are present on the current page. This means the browser quietly downloads resources like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in the background. As a result, when the user clicks on a link, the page loads much faster because the necessary resources are already available. Prefetching significantly reduces waiting time when navigating to the next page. After enabling the setting and saving the configuration, go to the storefront. You'll notice that speculation scripts for prefetching are active. However, in some cases, like this particular page, you may observe that prefetch is not triggered. That's because some links may already be stored or cached by the browser. When this feature is disabled, prefetching will not work. In our tests, we observed that turning off the feature stopped the browser from preloading resources, which led to noticeably slower page transitions. When we disable prerender as well, we observe that no speculation is detected in the browser. However, when we navigate to the next page, we see that prefetch has already downloaded the page link in advance. Now, what is the Ignore Prefetch URL option? This feature allows you to list specific URLs or URL patterns that should not be prefetched. This is useful in several cases. When the page content changes frequently, and prefetching could load outdated information. When the page is large and could unnecessarily consume bandwidth. When the page contains sensitive or user-specific data. For example, suppose I enter the compare page URL into the ignore list and save the configuration. After doing this, if I refresh the page, you'll notice that the compare section no longer appears in the prefetch list. In other words, the page is no longer being prefetched, only prerendered if enabled. So, prefetch is not working on the compare page because it was added to the ignore list. However, when I remove compare from the list, prefetching starts working for that page again, as you can see. Now, let's move on to the next part. Ignore prefetch URL parameter. What is the Ignore Prefetch URL parameter? This option lets you define specific URL parameters that should be ignored when deciding whether to prefetch a page. For example, if I enter a URL with a sorting parameter, the browser will treat links with or without that parameter the same and will not create separate prefetches for each variation. The main purpose of this feature is to prevent redundant or duplicate prefetches. It ensures that only unique and necessary pages are prefetched, conserving both bandwidth and processing time. Now let's talk about the prefetch eagerness level, which is similar to the prerender eagerness level. Bagisto provides 3 options for this setting: eager, moderate, and conservative. Eager means the browser will load everything up front, including deep or related dependencies. Moderate means the browser will load some related data, typically 1 to 2 levels deep, but not everything. Conservative means the browser will load only the minimal data required and defer everything else until it's actually needed. When I selected the moderate option and saved the configuration, we could observe in the storefront that the eagerness level was set to moderate. Then, when I switched to eager, the eagerness level changed accordingly, and prefetching became more aggressive. I hope you liked it. If you have any queries, please contact us at support@theratewebcol.com or raise a ticket at webcol.uedesk.com. Thanks for watching and subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates.